Well, hello everyone and welcome back. We are live once again with the Tom Colohue channels after a weekend off, which I assure you all was fantastic. And today we're going to talk about some changes that have already been made to the card for WWE Chamber. We're going to talk about the plans for the future of the WrestleMania build, changes for Sasha Banks, changes for Naomi, and the overall level of success, or at least the WWE patting themselves heavily on the back for the fact that they managed to get Sonya Deville on the card, which was really a mission and a half that they were going for. We're also going to do a quick catch-up on stats and numbers as they are right now, to be clear, and before we jump into the spoilers, if you're not on the Discord, we have been doing very, very well with the YouTube recently, and of course we will be answering your questions, seeing what the landscape is going forwards, checking out the plans for example, Elias, if ever he returns, and several other things, recent interviews and so on and so forth, depending on what people bring up. We also, of course, as seemingly usual with these Tom Colohue shows, we'll do quite a bit of rumour killing and pointing out who in the wrestling journalist landscape is worth listening to based on their records and facts, rather than just being based on the vocality of their fan clubs. So welcome everyone to the Tom Colohue channel. Please, if you're watching on YouTube, remember that thumbs up as we start. It is tremendous seeing the sheer amount of people who are in these shows before we even get started. It's absolutely incredible. I'm almost jealous of myself, or at least I would be, say, a month ago when things were not running so smoothly, but we are doing incredibly well now. We will be jumping straight into the news. Please hit those thumbs ups, get those likes in, subscribe if you haven't, as we continue to get closer to that 1,000 subscribers. So the big piece of news that I want to start with is the big change for the Elimination Chamber. Now, if you're a regular here on this channel, you'll be aware that the day before the WWE announced their intention to have a 6-woman Elimination Chamber match, and in fact listed all of the combatants, including one that they had not yet named, I reported that in a video live here on YouTube. Also in that video is further information as to what the WWE were planning. They were planning at that time a rematch between Charlotte Flair and Naomi from this week's SmackDown, the idea being that it would get the SmackDown Women's Championship on the card, and would give them the opportunity to continue a Naomi push and continue to at least mention Ronda Rousey. However, when it comes to Ronda Rousey, they weren't at that time really planning on having her on the card. They were, however, looking to get Sonya Deville as involved as possible. This was a mission that they have been on for years. Sonya Deville, as we know, is an openly gay woman who is out and proud, and well done to her for navigating the horrible world we live in when it comes to being out and proud. Credit to her, because it's a rough, horrible world we live in, so credit to her for that. The WWE previously have been unable to take gay wrestlers to Saudi Arabia. This is one of the many reasons that Zelina Vega won the Queen of the Ring and not, as was originally intended, Shayna Baszler, but it's worked out pretty well for Queen Zelina, and the WWE have rolled with it. They were intending to get Sonya Deville involved in some way. The intention was to go as far as they could. If they couldn't have a wrestle, she'd referee. If they couldn't have a referee, they'd have a commentate. If they couldn't have a commentate, she would work in a backstage promo. Well, the Saudis have bent the knee, apparently, because Sonya Deville will be wrestling. As soon as it became apparent that Sonya Deville could wrestle, they decided to get her wrestling, added her to the match between Charlotte Flair and Naomi, I do apologise, and then immediately saw that as a tremendous opportunity to add Ronda Rousey to the card as well. Ronda Rousey is working on a limited date contract, but much as she did last time round, she's more than willing to add a few extra dates for a bit of money, and the WWE are seemingly very happy to pay her. Now, this may make some changes in the weeks to come, because initially the plan was to have a tag team of Ronda Rousey and Sasha Banks taking on repeatedly at house shows and basically in storyline the team of Charlotte Flair and Shayna Baszler. This is still the plan. However, I've been told over the last couple of days, I do apologise I didn't get it until about an hour ago formally, I've been told by a number of sources now, pardon me, that Sasha Banks is quote-unquote unavailable for an unknown period of time. I don't have any further details on that at this moment, but Sasha Banks is unavailable for an unknown period of time. This is very similar to what happened at SummerSlam, when all I heard was that she was unavailable for a period of time. And in fact comes from the same source that told me there was no plan to have her on the SmackDown Go Home show for SummerSlam, which was disputed, was called a liar, and then proven true by Becky Lynch. So, the future of Sasha Banks, still unknown. I haven't had a firm reason as to why she's not available, but Hollywood seems to be calling. As I've seen quite a few people pick up on Twitter, I've been hitting like on those tweets to let people know that I am reading and I am following, and I do appreciate all of you sharing that information. Hollywood seems to be calling for Sasha Banks, who is currently in LA with no fixed expected time to return. No fixed expected time to return. Let's start talking to the chat. Firstly, if you weren't here from the off, I'm a pro wrestling journalist. I work for PW Torch and of course work independently on these here channels, the channels of Tom Colohue, on both Twitch and YouTube. We are currently sitting at 933 subscribers with a mission to reach 1,000 subscribers by WrestleMania. That is 1,000 subscribers by WrestleMania. 1,000 subscribers by WrestleMania would allow me, Mr. Tom Colohue himself, to monetize. Meaning that these shows currently, I don't earn anything from them. But once I monetize, just by watching, you will be increasing the amount I earn from YouTube. So, if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider it. And if you haven't clicked like, that little thumbs up can make a massive difference. There will be more Sasha Banks news as we go through the show for people who aren't here regularly. For those who are here regularly, I'm sure you'll know most of it. We'll see if I can surprise anyone. Let's catch up with the chat. Michael Latina on YouTube, before we started, for anyone who doesn't know, the shows go live with a holding pan on YouTube a couple of hours ahead of time. I was about 4.5 hours ahead because I do have to queue them up. You're able to jump in and essentially ask whatever questions you would like of those and queue them up for me. And I really do appreciate that because it means I always have something automatically to jump into. Michael says, I think it makes so much more sense to go with Naomi. Sasha gets nothing from it, Naomi does. Fans would reject Sasha giving the babyface rub to Ronda, and I think that's a very fair point. The intention is still very much for Sasha Banks to give the rub to Ronda Rousey. However, they are also now having Naomi give the rub to Ronda Rousey. Likely the faces will win the tag team match. It's also, to be blunt, a good thing for Sonya Deville, who's only recently returned to wrestling full time. So it's a good thing for everyone involved. Honestly, I'm happy with the match, even though I won't be watching it. Jaden on YouTube also says, I'm excited, and so you should be, mate, so you should be. We're getting good shows going. Also says, hello on Twitch. Welcome, Jaden. Sean Cena says, hello, Tom. How was your weekend? Your thoughts on SmackDown? My weekend was incredible. I have bruises on both of my buttocks because I went hiking in improper footwear and fell over, got covered in mud, and then went back. Had to wash my trousers in a bathtub, iron them, dry them with a hairdryer, and put them back on because they were the only black trousers I had for our Valentine's Day meal. But you know what? It worked. It was great. It was cute. We had lots of food, lots of naps in the middle of the day, and just a great time. I had a fantastic weekend. Thanks for asking, mate. My thoughts on SmackDown? Haven't watched all of it. Just going to be entirely blunt. I have not watched all of SmackDown as of yet. I've not had time. I'm only recently back from my weekend. I have watched, for example, the main event, Charlotte Flair versus Naomi. I enjoyed it. I don't think it was as incredible as I'm seeing reported, but I did very much enjoy it. Ooh, we're getting quite a few people through. Lovely. Wiggly says, hey, how are you? I'm very good, Wiggly, thank you. Rob, welcome, says, hi, Tom. Montel says, hi, Tom. Montel here, all the way from South Africa. Ooh, we're going global, guys. We're going global. Welcome, Montel. Great to see you. Christoph, hello, says, hey, Tom, how are you? Good evening. And a good evening to you, sir. Christoph, I know you're a regular listener over on PW Torch. So for anyone who doesn't know, Nick and I will be doing a special edition of Nick and Tom's Intercontinental Adventure. Potentially here. We'll wait and see on that one. The last one went down very well. We will be previewing Elimination Chamber. We will be recording that tomorrow. I'll let you know if it's going to be hosted on these channels. But that will go onto the actual Wade Keller Pro Wrestling Podcast. Essentially, that's the push. That's the main event. We're getting big spots now, and I really am feeling that things are going very well in that regard. Hello, Simon. Hello, Kervin. Hello, everyone. Rob says it makes more sense to me now why Sasha isn't included, which makes me think the WWE knew of her prior obligations beforehand and protected her, which is very, very possible. To be clear, what I know is that she was at SmackDown right after the Royal Rumble. She wasn't there by the end of it. That's all I know. I was not given any reasons, and all I know is that she's unavailable for an unknown period of time. That's all I've been told, and I've been told that by a number of sources, one of which who simply confirmed it, which was funny. Kevin says, I was surprised to see Sonya Deville go to the Saudi Arabia pay-per-view. She's very much hoping to represent there, and I wish her the best of luck with it. I really do. As you all know, I'm not a fan of the whole Saudi Arabia thing. It sucks. I don't support it. But for individuals such as Sonya Deville, who is able to be representative of a whole sexuality in a country that demonizes it, if she is properly protected there, then it could potentially be a good thing. Sonic says, hello Tom, hope you have a wonderful Valentine's Day weekend. I really did, Sonic, thank you for asking. Bro says, hey Tom, good evening. Will Lita be at WrestleMania? I cannot confirm this at this time. The main reason I can't confirm this is because Lita herself has confirmed a report of mine. My report was that she was only supposed to be at the Royal Rumble, but impressed the WWE enough in her tete-a-tete with Charlotte Flair that they decided to bring her in against Becky Lynch. She confirmed this. That is where we're at right now. This means that as of right now, the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view will be her last appearance for the WWE. However, if she is once again able to impress, she may well be able to make a Mania match, and they are looking for someone to go against one Sasha Banks. They're currently looking for someone. As I'm catching up with the chat and going through these questions, I will be sharing quite a lot of news you will not find anywhere else. So please, if you have not yet done so, hit like on this video. One of the main reasons we're growing so fast at the moment is that we've been getting 30, 40 or 50 likes on some videos. So please do consider hitting that thumbs up and subscribing if you have not done so. Dimitar, welcome. So it seems like she's been in LA for some time now, maybe 2 weeks. Indeed. It seems likely she came just after SmackDown and has stayed there ever since. Sonic says, yikes, what is going on with Sasha Banks? She's disappearing like crazy. It's like Sasha Banks wants to go to Hollywood, and Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch are on the spotlight. The WWE, from best I can tell, are supportive of Sasha Banks going to Hollywood, and certainly Hollywood is supportive of Sasha Banks. I don't think she's necessarily being poached, but I think she may be making herself available. She's shop windowing herself in case anyone decides that she's worth poaching. She is worth poaching. Steve, mate, how are you? SCW, the wrestling channel, comes in and says, hi, buddy. Hope you're well. Let's get Tom to the magic 1K. Thank you, mate. Thank you kindly. For anyone who doesn't know, I recently made an appearance on Steve's wrestling channel alongside someone else you will know, Ed Fries, a regular mod on both the Twitch and YouTube of these here Tom Colohue channels. We were saying what we thought was the best Elimination Chamber match of all time. If you have a favourite, you can drop it in the chat here, or you can go across and comment on Steve's video. I would be very grateful if anyone who is a fan of more pro wrestling stuff and would like to see more love for creators on the fresher scale, the ones who aren't sponsored by the big names, as it were, the ones who are grinding and working hard to gain the attention that they rightly deserve. If you can give them some love, Steve is very well deserving. There's also someone else who sometimes pops in here, Eleanor, from Eleanor Wrestling Channel, also in that video, and also well worth checking out. Lauren says, what's going on with Sasha? At the moment, not much. She's in LA, she's unavailable for an unknown period of time, is the information that I'm getting so far. BFG Podcast says, I hate YouTube. Sometimes I miss the first 5 minutes because the video was stuck on the starting soon screen for me. Had to refresh twice before it would work. Sorry to hear that, BFG. I really am sorry to hear that. Thankfully, I do have my videos set so that you can rewind them if need be. I think I talk too fast for a sped up zip through though. I'm a very quick talker and I do apologise for that. So I'm very sorry to hear that. I'll look into the technology, see if there's anything I'm doing wrong on my side for it. Jermaine Welcome says, hi Tom. I'm surprised that WWE is allowed to let Sonya Deville go over to Saudi Arabia as a wrestler. Me too. They were planning it. They were trying to make it happen. Regulars here on the Tom Colohue channel are fully aware of that. However, at the moment, I'm waiting to see what actually happens. Lauren says, any Elimination Chamber predictions? My formal predictions will be happening tomorrow during my recording for the Wade Keller Pro Wrestling podcast on PW Torch with Nick Barbati, my regular co-host on Nick and Tom's Intercontinental Adventure. But essentially, my opinion is no championships will change hands, which should tell you most of what's going on. Edward Brooks says, hey Tom, glad I caught you live. Welcome, Edward. How you doing, man? I do apologise, everyone. I know I'm a bit behind in keeping up with the chat, but I am trying my best to catch up. I want to make sure everyone gets the attention that they deserve. And yes, Lauren, thank you. I am okay. I'm just struggling to bend over a little bit. I am getting older. Hello, Michael. How are you? Edward says, did I miss the first bit yet? We are 15 minutes in, so you may have missed some of it, Edward, but you can always catch up a little bit later. I do want to talk about watch time as soon as I've caught up with the chat. Darnell says, hey Tom. Hello, Darnell. Great to see you, man. Lauren says, did you watch the halftime show? I watched some of it. I actually watched quite a bit of the Super Bowl this year. Quite a bit, but then we sort of conked out unconscious because we were just plain exhausted. But I did watch quite a bit of the Super Bowl this year and quite enjoyed it, actually. SmackDown was taped on Friday, but there was a botch on the women's contract signing. Seen it. Found it hilarious. Would love to see it live, but who knows? I don't think we'll ever get to see it actually happen. Bro says, has there been any news on who the final entrant is at the Women's Elimination Chamber? Becky did say she didn't mind seeing Asuka be that person. Right now, it's Asuka. Asuka has been cleared. She was cleared for the Royal Rumble, was expected to feature, but in the end did not. Asuka has been cleared and is likely to appear in the Elimination Chamber in a way that she is protected. Sasha Banks is not going to be the sixth person. Bayley has not been cleared yet, but she is very, very close. YouTube is apparently having dramas. Apologies if anyone's receiving buffering. There seems to be a technological issue that I will look into and see what's going on there. Hopefully it'll sort itself out shortly. Bailey says, watching both streams, 28 joining on YouTube in the first 8 minutes. 28 is very, very good. And yeah, I've had some very high numbers in this show. Some very high numbers. Things are going very, very well. David Leary says, hello everyone. Hello David, how are you? Sean says, Tom Colohue worldwide. I can't do the impression. I really shouldn't. It's just terrible. But still, you guys know what I'm going for. Lauren says, great seeing you. Looks like you had a great weekend. I really did, Lauren. I really did. And I'm so grateful so many people are asking about it. Lauren says, do you see Orton or Riddle turning heel at the Chamber? I do not. Randy Orton, to my knowledge, is not planned to be at the Elimination Chamber at all. Okay, things seem to have improved again. Seem to have. Things are going good. Michael says, why do I have this feeling that Sasha won't be back for about a month? Very possible, very likely. She will be involved at WrestleMania. Once again, they don't know what match they're going to give her yet, but they are planning to give her a match. Douglas Pinos, welcome. Says, hello Tom. Greetings from Chile. Any update for the Mania card matches? Nothing big at the moment. There is certainly a groundswell happening to try and get Orton versus Riddle at the show. However, there is just as strong a collection trying to make it a tag team match between RK Bro and Alpha Academy. A lot of people, big fans of what Chad Gable and Otis are doing right now. Big fans of what Chad Gable and Otis are doing. And honestly, I can see it going tag team instead, despite the fact that WWE do want Orton versus Riddle. There is disagreements, as it were. Lauren says, you're not watching Elimination Chamber? I'm not. It's in Saudi Arabia. I do not watch Saudi Arabia shows. Lauren also says, is Sasha on a part-time schedule or do they not have storylines for her? Right now, no plan. They're trying to work out what to do with her for WrestleMania. They want to give her a big match. Want to. But we are where we are. Moneymaker says, Sasha fans are boycotting Elimination and SmackDown until I'm guessing that it ends with they give us what they want. Well, they're not exactly exiting in droves because SmackDown's still doing pretty well, let's be honest. It's going down, but it's still doing okay. Lauren says, how would you feel if Goldberg defeats Roman? Very unhappy. Just very unhappy. Get to Table says, how highly does Vince think of Sasha? Very highly. I make the joke often that Sasha Banks is Vince McMahon's favourite person in the world. It's not entirely a joke. Jermaine says, hi Tom, glad to see you doing well and glad to see the channel is growing. Thank you, Jermaine. The channel's growing very, very well indeed. Thank you very much. Lauren is saying, happy Valentine's Day, everyone. Thank you, Lauren. And happy Valentine's Day to yourself and to everyone in the chat. I hope you've had a good one, even if it is a day of just learning to love yourself a little bit more. Valentine's doesn't have to be about the person you're with, because the person you're with could be yourself, and you are important too. Dimitar says she might miss Mania too. Not heard anything about her missing Mania. Everything I've heard indicates that there will be nothing stopping Sasha Banks from appearing at and wrestling at WrestleMania. They just don't know what the match is going to be yet. Go says, hi Tom. In case anyone is a watcher of Being the Elite, the latest episode is pretty intriguing, as towards the end you can clearly see the arm of one charismatic enigma. Seems like an accident, but you never know. Well, they do their thing when it comes to that, don't they? They're very good at marketing, very good at teasing, and this is certainly a tease. Lauren says, I hope we're not doing title versus title at Mania. Still haven't heard anything about that. I'm keeping my ear to the ground, haven't heard anything yet. Jaden says, I hate it when there are wrestling channels like Wrestling News Now that are just lying. They're the most successful ones. Wrestling News Now makes millions per year. Millions per year with complete bullshit. Just complete daily bullshit. None of it's true. Not a damn thing. Millions. YouTube is doing nothing to combat that incorrect information. JJ, welcome, says, hey Tom, is Becky at Raw tonight or is Lita just addressing her? Becky is at Raw tonight. Lauren says, who do you think is the final entrant in the Women's Chamber? Asuka. Bro says, Lacey looks in great shape, but I wonder if they'll wait for Raw after Mania for her to return. No plans at the moment for her to appear before WrestleMania. After that, we'll wait and see. Lauren says, do you miss pay-per-views on Sundays? So far, there's only been one on Saturdays. I much preferred it. Sean says, Ringside News said Brock is now the favourite to win the WWE Championship Elimination Chamber. Do you believe them? Yes and no. I believe they've looked at the betting averages and reported that as an exclusive. So I think they're just being clever with it. Moneymaker says, is Sasha going to be at WrestleMania? Yes. Bro says, Tom, did you see Ronda almost slip on SmackDown trying to save Naomi, or did she actually slip? I don't know. As I say, I've not watched all of it. I may have missed that part. Lauren says, when do you think Cena is returning? In about a year and a half. SCW says, thanks for the plug and well wishes as always. Question for you today. Do you believe AJ Styles will win the US title from Damian Priest tonight? I do not. I do not, personally. I like the idea of AJ Styles having a championship. I always like that. But on Raw, he's never been that guy. Never been that guy. Boss Pedal says it was a tiny Twitch buffer, but it's fine now. Thank you kindly, Boss Pedal. I do appreciate the catch-up there. Jaden says, are you going to watch Raw? I have no intention of watching Monday Night Raw tonight. No intention. Sean says, do you think it'll be revealed tonight on Raw who the mystery woman is? Or will they wait until the Chamber to reveal it? Not sure. I think they will wait until the Chamber, personally. But I also thought they'd wait until the Rumble to have Sasha Banks come back. They didn't do that. Lauren says, you don't think Orton will be travelling to the Chamber? I don't think he needs to, but he might do. But he's not in the Chamber. He's not booked for a match at the moment. Jaden says, what's going to be Bayley's direction when she comes back? Face. I would imagine an immediate feud with Becky, but we'll see how that goes. BFG says, I hope you're not losing you, because every time I use Siri dictation to leave a comment, it goes back to the starting scene screen, but it still says live. Interesting. Not sure what's going on there, BFG. Sorry about it. Lauren wants Orton versus Riddle and not RK Bro versus Alpha Academy. Personally, I'd like to see Chad Gable get the kudos. It's just about waiting for that moment to happen. Okay, it says, damn, so Banks was replaced. She's not available. They had to do something. I kind of can't blame WWE for that. Though, of course, I can ask questions about her original plan at WrestleMania. Steve says, as Sasha was eliminated from the Rumble by Queen Zelina, is there a chance they use Sasha at Mania to go for the tag titles with returning Bayley as her partner? Very possible, yes. I do believe there is a hope that they can get the Bellas involved in that as well. There is no plan for Sasha Banks to appear in any championship matches, as in Raw or SmackDown Championship, but could feature in a tag team championship match. KJ says it was a tag match in Saudi already set. That was set on Friday. They got confirmation in the days beforehand that Sonya Deville was allowed to wrestle in Saudi Arabia. JDE, welcome. So I prefer them to give Sasha a win at WrestleMania, just need to be someone big. They won't give her a win against someone big. They, for some reason, just simply are not willing to do so. We currently have 51 viewers across 2 platforms, 37 currently watching on YouTube. If you have not yet done so, please consider hitting that thumbs up like button. It makes a big difference to the growth of our channel. We are currently sitting on 933 subscribers. And while I've got you, just for a moment, I just want to recap something that I put in the Discord earlier today, saying that I wanted to give a quick update on our monetization goals here at YouTube. Now at the moment, we're sitting at 933 subscribers with a goal of 1,000 for monetization, meaning that we only need to gain 67 or 6.7% until we can achieve monetization. As watch time goes, we're looking even better. In fact, as of right now, out of 4,000 watch hours per 12 months, we are at 3,832, meaning that we only need 168 or 5.2% more watch time. That means that by the end of the month, I'm absolutely confident we will hit that watch time goal, at which point for the subscriber base, we just need numbers. We just need numbers to make this happen. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit subscribe. Even if you're not a regular viewer, pop in, catch up, whatever suits your fancies. And remember to click that thumbs up if you can as well. Lauren said, did you see that Vince said he sees nothing wrong with the WWE creative? He doesn't. You've got to remember, WWE's target audience is not wrestling fans. WWE's target audience is casuals. And with this in mind, they're doing fantastic. Tanner says, Tom Colohue. Welcome, Tanner. Oh God, I'm losing comments here. Michael says, I'm so glad Naomi is replacing Sasha. It helps Naomi, does nothing for Sasha, and the fans would reject her given the face rub. Indeed, very true. I did discuss that a little bit earlier. After all, that was the first comment, Michael, and I do appreciate you dropping that early on. Jermaine says, I still believe Sasha Banks and a partner will go up against Queen Zelina and Carmella. Certainly very possible. Bailey has been mentioned. Kevin says, Charlotte and Naomi have great chemistry. They have a lot of experience working together, and that is a big help for that. Douglas says, any update for Finn Balor or Edge? Latest update for Edge is the one that I reported about 2 weeks ago. They are pitching at the moment Edge versus AJ Styles for WrestleMania. It's just not been confirmed. As regards Finn Balor, they have no idea what to do with him. Lauren says, any Hall of Fame class inductees? Some were supposed to have been mentioned already. Undertaker seems the most logical first choice. Montel says, sorry to ask Tom, not sure if it's personal, but why don't you watch the Saudi pay-per-views? Because they beheaded a fucking journalist. That's entirely my choice, entirely my opinion. It's my tiny little protest. I don't agree with the WWE making this deal. I don't agree with it. I choose to opt out of watching it. That's why I go for it. Alan says, if Vince thinks so highly about Sasha that much, why doesn't he push her more? Too reliable is what I personally believe is the reasoning. Lauren said, did you hear rumours Orton may be starting an 80-day work schedule soon? He's already working a part-time schedule. I'm waiting to see how part-time he becomes over the next few weeks. Dimitar says, in a perfect world, we get Lita and Bailey and Trish and Sasha. I wouldn't say that's perfect, but it's certainly quite good. Jay Quick says, what do you think they will do with Cesaro at Mania? Seat him in catering and put him in the Battle Royal. KJ says, Edge versus AJ for the US title, possibly. We'll see tonight if AJ wins. Possible. Wouldn't necessarily say likely. I'd rather have AJ retain, and I don't think that does much for Damian Priest, who is missing out on a big match for WrestleMania if that is the case. David Leary says, I was recently blocked by a fellow wrestling insider for saying Tom Colohue had it first. Well, you were right, David. You were absolutely right. Who was that wrestling insider that blocked you? Simon says, when is Alexa back on TV? Around about Mania, possibly just after. Lauren says, did you hear Riddle was a planned winner for the Rumble, then followed by Orton? Nope, that was, to my knowledge, a false report. That has been rumour killed by several different sources, including myself. Kevin says, I'm still waiting for Alexa Bliss to have a match. It will be happening shortly. They just need to undo her entire character. Lauren says, Trish versus Sasha maybe. Certainly something that has been pitched. They're just waiting for it to actually happen. Matthew Ham says, is Edge versus AJ Styles planned for WrestleMania? Fightful says it is pitched. To be fair, Matthew, 2 weeks ago I also said it was pitched. I said it way before Fightful. Yes, I know that it was pitched. It is not at current planned, but it is pitched. Sean says, why is Sasha posting YouTube links of her old matches on Twitter? Because she's very fond of her old matches on Twitter. She thinks she's doing very well, and she likes to share the content. Lauren says, you don't think Cena will be back at all this year? No, not really. KJ says, Ronda slipped just like Titus, but she didn't fall. Stage ended and the matting started. It's a little drop in between. Looking forward to checking it out. Bro says, where the heck is Finn Balor? They have nothing for him right now. Lauren says, we don't even know who's heel or face anymore. Best heel and face right now. Baron Corbin as heel, Drew McIntyre as face. At least you know who the hell they are. Ghost says, when do you think the rollout of Hall of Fame inductees will begin? Should have already started. They are way behind on it, way behind. But eventually I'm sure they'll start to catch up. Lauren says, Gable deserves better. I heartily agree. JJ says, do you see Becky and Roman in Hollywood and do they have offers? Yes and no. No and yes. I don't see them going yet. I see them taking up some jobs eventually, not going full time. There are offers for a number of different people in the WWE, including, right now, Alexa Bliss. Lauren says, heard Bella Twins are a lock for the women's tag. Well then, that may be what happens at WrestleMania. Jaden says, how are they going to make Bayley face? Are they going to make a hugger again? No, what they're going to do is have a walkout. Job done. Lauren says, Orton said he may retire at 50. Orton says a lot of stuff, most of which isn't true. We could get Bianca versus Becky at Mania. That is the plan at the moment, Lauren. Jay Quick says, Tom, that Discord link doesn't work. Very sorry. I'll just grab a fresh one for you. For some reason, it doesn't always play along, right? How do you do this? I don't know how to do this. There it is. Invite people. Copy. A link for Discord. Firstly, going in YouTube. And now, going on Twitch. Thank you for letting me know, Jay Quick. Lauren says, let's get to 2,000 subs. That's a good goal. We are at the moment just over 100 per 28 days. So let's keep it going. Tommy B, welcome. Said, did you see the interview of Brock on the Pat McAfee show? Pardon me, it's a must-see. I really enjoyed it. I'm really enjoying Brock as a babyface. It's surprising. Matthew Ham says, when will RK Bro get their rematch against Alpha Academy? It seems like they're pushing it back further and further. I think this is going to Mania, personally. Kevin says, why did AEW move Rampage to 7 p.m? I think they got preempted, didn't they? They got bumped because of Olympic coverage, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Sean says, Brock more than likely opened the show. Will Damian versus AJ main event? I hope so. I think it would be a very, very fun match and well worth the price of admission. BFG says, before you go any further, you might want to check if nobody else is stuck on the starting screen. As I'm reading it out, as I'm reading your comments, BFG, a lot of different people are hearing them. Nobody else is saying so far. Unfortunately, at the moment, I can't really look into it because I'm still hosting the show. Once I come off, I will check it. Simon says, Impact is awesome at the moment. I am hearing very good things. Lauren says, are you shocked Vince fired his own son? Not at all. Vince McMahon knows how to make money. Lauren says, WWE made over $2 billion last year. Did they? I'm pretty sure it was just over $1 billion. That's revenue, not profit. SCW says, that's incredible, Tom. Do amazing on watch time and subs. Channel is to the moon. I really have high hopes. I think things are going very, very well. Thank you. Bailey says, of course, Vince is happy. Best ever revenues, great SmackDown ratings, more Hollywood ties. Sure, more cuts are coming, but he doesn't care. Ultimately, and as disappointing as it may be to say this, I have to say it. Why would he care? He's making money. He's absolutely making money, and he's having a great time. Steve says, are you looking forward to NXT Vengeance Day? I think so. I've not looked into it enough, really. I think so. Bro says, did WWE really air a commercial at the Super Bowl? Mighty impressive, probably to target the casual fans. Yes and yes. So they definitely aired that commercial. I've seen it. And yes, that is entirely based around casual fans. They also had The Rock open the show. They know how to get to casuals. KJ says, of course, Vince will say he's happy with the product. They just made record profits. So technically it's working. These are the moments I feel I need to point out. The WWE doesn't exist to entertain. It exists to make money, and it's very, very good at it. Justin says, no Intercontinental Adventure this week, Tom. Not as of the weekend just gone. I was away at the weekend. However, I will be having one this weekend coming. Lauren says, I hate when WWE spoils everything. Do you think we'll get a Priest heel turn? Not necessarily yet, but I'm sure the moment is coming. Sean says, do Ronda and Naomi win on Saturday? Yes, I believe they do. David Leary says it was Sean Ross Sapp who blocked him. Yeah, Sean Ross Sapp is someone who continually calls me a liar, and then his reports on Fightful Select are often very similar to mine, but several days later. He got a lot of kudos for reporting that Ronda Rousey was close to a deal with the WWE to return at the Royal Rumble. 3 days earlier, I'd reported the exact same thing. Undoubtedly, he's blocked you so that that doesn't appear in his feed and other people won't see it. Tanner just shouts, Nixon Newell. Keep going, mate. Never give up. Lauren is saying this is as per Dave Meltzer. Lauren, please remember to source the information you're bringing in. Saying Knoxville versus Zayn at Mania is planned. That's according to Dave Meltzer. Not something I've heard about, so I can't really comment on it. Lauren also said, my friend said you love Cena but lost respect to him because of his movie career. That's a ridiculous thing to say, let's be honest. KJ says, got a weird question, Tom. So WWE just made $1 billion, right? What money are they counting? Ticket sales, merchandise, TV deals, Saudi money, etc., or do they count everything? The $1 billion is revenue, as such it is everything. Actual profit wasn't $1 billion, to be clear. That wasn't profit. Revenue, as in all money incoming, before expenses are factored, was more than $1 billion. Jermaine says, hey Tom, how many years left on the current deal for the Saudi shows that WWE still has? 4, I believe. 4, but they do owe the Saudi Arabia government 2 shows, so I think they'll extend it a year. Lauren says, do you think when Edge, Orton and Cena retire, they'll retire for good, or there'll be some part of WWE backstage? I think Edge will stick around backstage a little bit. I think he'll be the only one. Bro says, did WWE still pipe in noise for Ronda, or have they given up? They are still piping in noise. The intention is for Ronda Rousey to be a face. That's why she's getting the endorsement from Naomi. It's why she's going to get the endorsement from Sasha Banks. Thank you, Michael, clarifying that NBA caused Rampage to move. They were preempted and moved because of competition. Lauren is saying Rhea versus Nikki at Mania. I don't see it. It's already run its course for me. I don't think Nikki Cross will be featuring too strongly at Mania. Dimitar says, so say Charlotte loses at Mania, what does she do after that? Keep losing to a number of other people, preferably lower down the card, such as, for example, Shotzi, Liv Morgan, and so on and so forth. There's a number of people who I think will be beating up Charlotte for a while. That would be ideal for me. Lauren says, No Way Out or Elimination Chamber pay-per-view and matches. No Way Out was, I want to say 2000. Yep, 2000, because of the Hell in a Cell between Mick Foley and Triple H. As Elimination Chamber goes, my favourite was 2009, when Edge lost the championship right at the beginning, and they ended between a battle between Triple H and The Undertaker. Jay Quick says, once you get monetized, people will have to acknowledge you as the head of the wrestling Twitch, head of the table. Won't go that far, Jay Quick, but once I am monetized, YouTube will be advertising me more. YouTube will be advertising me a lot more, which will mean faster growth. And to be honest, we're growing pretty fast already. If we go faster, sky's the limit. Sean says, I know you don't watch NXT, but do you see any titles changing at Vengeance Day? I haven't watched it recently enough to really be able to say. Once I get to the show, I'll have a think, and I'll certainly talk to Ed about it. He is our resident NXT expert after all. Lauren says, where has Steph been? Working backstage. And is Triple H still okay? Not entirely, but he's coming back to it. Jane says, is Bayley going to get a new theme? Not that I've heard personally. Lauren is suggesting Nakamura should just go to a different company. I wouldn't say so yet. I think he's enjoying his work at the moment. KJ's further clarifying from what Michael said earlier. NBA All-Star Rising Stars game starts at 9 PM Eastern Time on TNT. Coverage starts usually 30 minutes to an hour before, so that is why Rampage has been moved. D says, do you believe we're getting Sami Zayn versus Johnny Knoxville at WrestleMania? Honestly, no, but things can change. I want to see what happens in the SmackDowns coming, because the money stopped coming from Jackass. Johnny Knoxville has stopped paying to appear on WWE, So at this point, if they're sticking with him, I'm wondering why. Lauren is saying, do you see Rock and Roman at Mania 39? I see Rock and Roman at Mania 39 as much as I saw Rock and Roman at Mania 38, as much as I saw Rock and Roman at Mania 37, 36, 35, 34. Every single year that Roman Reigns has been at WrestleMania, there has been a horribly rumoured match against The Rock coming. I'll believe it when it happens. No worries, Lauren. Ronaldinho says, when Bayley is clear, they should team her and Sasha together, starting a WrestleMania feud with Carmella and Zelina. That seems likely at this point. However, Bayley may not be cleared before WrestleMania. Jermaine says, hey Tom, any plans for Shotzi Blackheart and Shayna? At the moment, no, though Shayna is going to be featuring a lot more in live shows. She will be working a program with Ronda. They're just picking their moment. Lauren says, do you consider Orton or Omega better? I consider Orton. I would not completely say one way or the other. They're very different performers. Very different. I consider Orton more of a classicalist and Kenny Omega more of a more nouveau. More nouveau. Matthew Ham says, what is planned for Raw 1500? Nothing as of yet. As of yet, there don't seem to be any plans to make it special, but we'll see. KJ, I've just had a read of that. When I had a Twitter, blocked me after he said the dumbest thing ever. Reported some NXT UK talent was stuck in the UK, couldn't make NXT shows. Very true. And then said it would be good to see the NXT tag champs finally as an Imperium. Yep. Yep. There are some very sensitive people, and it seems to be a thing on Twitter. If you block anyone who disagrees with you, it stops looking like anyone disagrees with you. Suddenly your feed is all about people agreeing, and it's just the echo chamber. Some people like that. Lauren, you've asked me this question about Orton being backstage in WWE many times. I've always said the same thing. I think he'll just go home. BFG clarifies, saying the Saudi Arabia contract runs through 2028. Thank you for checking the stats on that one. KJ says, to be fair, Ronda is actually over. They didn't pipe in chance for other than her first promo. When she came out on Friday, it was a huge pop. She is over. There is a reason they're leaning towards face. She is getting the face treatment for a reason. That the fans are going for it. Since returning from COVID, fans have been more willing to just agree with the WWE. Welcome, Austin. How you doing, mate? Lauren says, did WWE banish Ric Flair because of a controversy? Yes and no. They banished him because he wouldn't get vaccinated and kept turning up when he had COVID, basically. Ed says, no titles will change at Vengeance Day. Welcome, Ed, and thank you for giving me a prediction to share that. Lauren says, where's Apollo Crews? Catering. No idea what to do with him. Lauren also says, is Mandy a good champ in your eye? Yes, I think she's doing very well. Wiggly says, did you see The Rock at the Super Bowl? I did. I also said, and millions. Hector says, happy Monday, Tom. Was there any rhyme or reason why WWE dropped pay-per-views such as Judgment Day, Armageddon, No Way Out, No Mercy, etc.? Those are all a huge part of my childhood. Bringing them back would be pretty cool. They essentially are wanting to drop a lot of the more hardcore imagery and phrasing. They wanted to drop things that were maybe a little bit too bloody, a little bit too satanic, and just sort of moving away from it all. Lauren said, does Raw have a GM? No, they don't have GMs at this point. They do have Sonya Deville and... what's his name? Adam Pearce. Lauren, nobody has ever officially retired from WWE. If they can wrestle, then Vince will keep messaging them on WhatsApp, curiously, and see how it goes. Sean says, Alexa as a heel is a heel when she comes back. Who do you see her having a feud with? I don't know if she's going to be a heel. It really depends how these vignettes go. The WWE have made a decision. I just don't know what the decision is. Lauren, Nouveau and Classico, this is an art term. Basically, it just means different styles. Matthew Ham says, when will Orton turn on Riddle? As soon as the WWE believe that the team of Orton and Riddle has run its course. Lauren says, they got blocked all the time. I don't care. Fair enough. Hootie Hoo says, the more you interact with the post, the more it recommends that kind of post. That is very true on both YouTube. Well, no, entirely on YouTube. It's not true on Twitch, but it's true on YouTube, and it's true on Twitter as well. If anyone has not followed my Twitter, www.twitter.com/Colohue. Let me just drop that into the chat. /Colohue. if you would like to check it out. www.twitter.com/Colohue. Now, admittedly, at the moment, it's a lot of advertising these shows, but still worth it. SCW says, what's your least favourite Elimination Chamber match of all time? The Extreme one, because it was shit. Dominic says, hi Tom, you look younger without the moustache. Thank you. Are they unifying both titles, and is Steve really fighting for the Intercontinental Championships? Steve? You mean Johnny Knoxville? Hope not. Thank you. I don't believe there is a unification on the cards at the moment. However, I haven't heard anything more on that. Lauren, you don't need to worry about typing more than once. There is something on YouTube called chat rate. The higher the chat rate, so the faster the chat moves, the more people the show gets advertised to. And that's one of the reasons we currently have 51 viewers across 2 shows. So don't you worry about it. I may sometimes skip something. I may sometimes skip things if they have been repeated or something like that, or if I'm just behind and I need to prioritise. For that I apologise, but we are where we are. Matthew Ham says, what is the plan for the WWE Championship? Not sure at this point. I believe it will be Lashley versus Rollins. However, I don't know. Lauren said, did you hear Roman and Orton had COVID? I did, because they told us. Mr. Amazing says, do you really have inside scoops, or are you just blowing smoke? Well, Mr. Amazing, let me talk about some of the things that I've shared here that nowhere else has shared. So, for example, the day before SummerSlam, I was the only person who reported that Becky Lynch would be returning at SummerSlam. I was also the only person who reported during Ronda Rousey's first run that she would only wrestle for 12 months. I reported this in the June, she left in the April. So I reported this 10 months before it actually came to be. I also reported that Sasha Banks was not booked to be at the SmackDown Go Home show before SummerSlam. I was called a liar for that, and then Becky Lynch confirmed it. In addition to that, I'm also the guy who first reported that the WWE were making a play to get Ronda Rousey in the Royal Rumble this year. There is evidence of this. You can actually watch the video in which I say it. It's right here on YouTube. It's listed something along the lines of updates on the status of Sasha Banks, Asuka, and so on for the Royal Rumble. It's all available there. That was 3 days before it appeared on Fightful Select behind a paywall. The people who get the credit are the ones who say that I'm lying. The people who get the credit are the ones who are saying, don't trust him, don't report him, don't listen to him. And then they report what I do. There's a number of other examples of this, and if you watch regularly, by all means, you can check. And if anyone else would like to share any information with Mr. Amazing here, to suggest that Mr. Amazing should subscribe and hit like and keep checking out the channel, please do share. Lauren says, so do you have to be vaxxed at WWE and AEW? Not sure. Really not sure. It's hard to tell. I just know that Ric Flair was being a dick about it. Michael says, I wish Apollo could get another run with the IC title. May happen one day. Not going to happen in the lead up to WrestleMania. Lauren says, Ali should be requesting his release. He did request his release. They said no. To be clear, when it comes to saying no, Vince said no. Nick Khan wants to let him go because he thinks it's a waste of time to pay someone who doesn't want to be there. Vince is winning at the moment. Sean says, millions and millions of Tom Colahue's fans. Lauren says, how long have you been a WWE fan? 24 years. But there was a big gap. Alejandro says, hello. Hello, Alejandro. Jason says, do you know anything about the WWE 2K22? Nothing new that hasn't been reported elsewhere. I'm looking forward to it, I'll tell you that. Lauren says, why going to AEW? No plans for that to happen. Dimitar says, I think Alexa as a heel makes more sense so she can feud with Bianca. Don't see that happening just yet, but mostly because there is a massive overload of heels on both sides in the women's division. Lauren says, you prefer heels and faces, right? Right, yeah, absolutely. Heels are just more interesting. Steve says, do you believe Keith Lee will be a success in AEW? Absolutely. I also believe that Miro, Andrade, Malachi Black, Sean Spears, etc. would be a success in AEW. Success is relative. Thank you for double checking, BFG. Really do appreciate it. Lauren says, actually had to leave Twitter because it was too toxic for me. I get that. I've had periods where I've had to leave Twitter because it is just horrible. Absolutely horrible. Wiggly says, I waited for ages. I didn't get to have a pick with Bianca and the Street Profits the other day, but I'd shake hands with them. That's cool, Wiggly. I hope you had a great time. I hope you really had fun. Lauren, unfortunately, I can't show you the chat rates in the back of house stuff. But I can see that the views are doing very well. The average watch time is doing very well. And we are still doing extremely well for viewers. If you haven't clicked like yet on the YouTube video, please do hit that thumbs up. I would very much appreciate it. It is a big help in our growth. Rodney says, are you a wrestler? I am not. I am a pro wrestling journalist. I'm aware that I can bet money on wrestling. However, I choose not to. Plus, to be fair, when I know it's often levied against Dave Meltzer as, oh, plans changed, did they? Plans genuinely changed really quickly late on in WWE. It's horrendous. JJ says, will Seth win the chamber match, or are they putting him in the tag team? I don't know. I do not know who is going to win in the chamber. I believe Bobby Lashley will retain. I don't know. Matthew says, will they do a Hell in a Cell match at WrestleMania or a ladder match? Ladder match is more likely, but I definitely don't believe we'll see a Hell in a Cell. Lauren says, why did WWE keep couples on the same brand? To avoid the situation they had previously where Alberto Del Rio and Paige were on separate brands, and they didn't like it. David Leary says, how long will Ronda wrestle for this time? Currently, it looks like about 2 years is what her contract is, but last time around her contract was for 3 years and she only wrestled 1. So, says Melina was a one-off. She was. She was only ever going to be. Tommy says, you're going to stream WWE 2K22 when it comes out. That's the plan. That's the hope and the intention. We are hoping to do a co-op versus GM mode, because I think that'll just be really entertaining. So we'd have 2 voices and 2 separate streams. I would be picking a brand, someone else would be picking a brand, and we'd be going for that. Essentially, I believe it will all come down to who gets Roman. Thank you, Dimitar. Says, Tom also reported that Sasha was just taking a mental health break after WrestleMania 35. I also reported about the break that Becky Lynch was planning to take after WrestleMania 36. In the end, she took a longer break than expected, but the intention was to take quite a prolonged break. She's been open about the fact that they were planning the marriage, they were looking at having a child, or essentially trying for a baby. That was going to be happening in that time. That's why she wanted to lose the championship to Shayna Baszler, for example. In the end, it was only for 4 weeks or so that her break lasted. And they pre-recorded a promo segment that they used in the second week to pop a rating, as it were. But that was probably one of my bigger reports. Also, the report that Becky and The Rock would be working together on the opening WWE SmackDown on Fox, that got me a lot of attention. JJ says, when Becky loses a title, will she be a chaser, just putting over new talent, or will go deeper in a heel run like Go Crazy and stuff? I'm not expecting a full Okada, gotta be honest, not expecting a full Okada. I don't believe she'll be competing immediately for the championship again. I think we'll see Becky versus Alexa. I think we'll see Becky versus Bayley. I think Becky will lose to Liv Morgan and lose to Asuka, and so on and so forth. That's what I think is going to happen. Though Becky will have the championship again in the lead up to next year's WrestleMania. That's what it's looking like. Jaden says, how would they reunite Sasha and Bayley? They just would. Do you remember how they reunited the Shield? Because Roman was like, let's just get back together. And then they did. It's the WWE. They really don't plan that far ahead. Ghost says, 3 reasons to subscribe. Squats, Coke, and Tom Colohue. Well, that sounds like one hell of a rave, Ghost. One hell of a rave. Lauren says, someone will sign Wyatt. Not if Bray Wyatt doesn't want to be signed. That's the thing people keep forgetting. If Bray Wyatt doesn't want to be signed, he won't be signed. He doesn't want to be signed. Miss AC says, Sasha replaced by Naomi at Elimination Chamber. What's the plan for her now, Tom? Well, Miss AC, the information that I'm getting is that Sasha Banks is going to be unavailable for an unknown amount of time. The WWE are not certain. However, in the lead up to WrestleMania, they will continue with this tag team that we're seeing at the Elimination Chamber. This will continue in live shows, but Sasha Banks will be endorsing Ronda Rousey and taking over in these tag teams in the build-up to WrestleMania. Actual WrestleMania plans at the moment, they are very much intending to feature Sasha Banks in a wrestling match at WrestleMania. What that wrestling match is going to be, they don't know. Lauren says Mia Yim, not wrestling at the moment. Austin says, what do you expect for tonight? I haven't really looked into it. Pardon me. Because I'm not watching it until tomorrow, I haven't looked into it. So I don't know. Oh, we have a troll. Well, Rodney, I'm just going to say this once. Fuck off. Right. Lauren says, heard Cena, Edge and Orton can have a say in their storyline since they have seniority. Nothing to do with seniority. Nothing at all. Edge has been pitching his own storylines for a while. WWE chooses to listen. Orton is much the same. This has happened a lot with champions, and all of them have reached that level. Sean says Triple H and Bret got a 91 in 2K22. Do you agree with these ratings? I have no idea what the ratings mean. I don't play 2K regularly enough. Wiggly says, I wonder what's happening about the AEW game. Still making it, still spending a ton of money on it, still not ready. Steve says if you could pick one superstar from catering or undercard in WWE to get a push, who would it be and why? Right now, based on the work that they're doing, it would be Chad Gable. Beyond that, I'd go with Finn, personally. I think you could do a lot more with Finn Balor than they're doing, however, they just don't seem to want to do it. And if they don't want to do it, unfortunately, they're not going to do it. Lauren says, who do you think should induct Taker? Vince McMahon himself. It'll probably be Kane. Dominic says, where's Sasha Banks? LA. She's in LA. Jay says, did WWE see when Ric Flair always tweets Becky? Can't they tell him to leave her alone? Nope, he doesn't work for them. He would completely ignore them. And he has done on several occasions. There will be lawsuits. He will lose. He will lose money. It seems like he just desperately needs something to do right now, which is sad on so many levels. Lauren says, so Charlotte and Becky are no longer best friends in real life. Rumours were Charlotte is selfish. There were lots of different rumours, a lot of which wasn't true. Just a lot of which wasn't true. But they seem to be better off at the moment. Seem to be better off. Michael's clarifying, Mia Yim isn't taking bookings till March. She tweeted that herself. She did. At the moment, Mia Yim is not wrestling. Lauren says, WWE wrestlers have a say if they want to be heel or face. Nope, not at all. And that's my fave tag team of all time. New Age Outlaws are a big one for me. I really enjoyed the New Age Outlaws. Hardy Boys were a big deal. I was more into Matt Hardy than Jeff Hardy. However, I really think the New Day are unstoppable right now. Unstoppable. Wiggly says, why can't Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair just accept that they are no longer a big deal? Because they surround themselves with people who tell them that they're still a big deal. Hector says, do you think Fox or NBC Universal has a say where Gable Steveson went as far as brand or no? I know each respectively want the upper hand. Here's the thing. Now, there is this idea being passed around that Fox and USA are saying they want this and they want this. And the Fox keeps saying, I want this person, then getting them. It's not entirely the case, but it's close. So Fox says, I want this person. USA says, I want this person. It's always the same person. Basically, they both want Roman. They both want Charlotte. They both want Becky. They both want Seth, Brock, Bobby, Ronda. They both want all of the big names and none of the little names. The big selling point, the reason Fox keeps winning, is that the WWE choose to favour Fox and will continue to do so. And I'm all caught up. So just to reiterate, if you have not yet done so, please click that like button. That thumbs up can make a massive difference to our channel. If you have not yet done so, please consider subscribing. That can make a massive difference to the channel. And at the moment, we are only 67 subscribers away from monetization. I want to be real blunt here. I'm not messing around. We are only 67 subscribers away from monetization. So every little helps. This is the time when I'll sit here and say, does anyone have a spare account? Does anyone have a spare account lying around? Also, we have less than 200 hours of watch time to come. Less than 200 hours of watch time. Everything is going very well in the Tom Colohue department. If you're watching on Twitch and you've not yet done so, please click follow as well. But for now, you will definitely see me again come Friday. You may see me before that for the special taping of Nick and Tom's, but I'll talk to Nick about that. We'll see how it goes. Thank you to everyone for joining me. I hope everyone has had a great Valentine's Day. I hope everyone enjoys Raw. Thank you very much for joining me. Again, I've been Tom Colohue. You've been fantastic. And I'll see you all very soon.